Okay, so I want to take a moment and explain how to get to some of the various information using your mobile device. In this case, I'm going to go to MindTap and I'm going to use my iPad. Now, it probably works with other Android systems and similar tablets and other devices. I happen to be using iPad because that's one of the things that I'm most familiar with, and actually one of the other things that I actually have access to. So the first thing I want to do is go into Google Chrome. So for me, I'm using Google Chrome in the iPad because it's simple or simpler for me to use. Then I go into our course room. Now our course room is found, of course, in Canvas. So let me type in my Canvas Park information. Here's my Park logged on. Now in the tablet mode, or at least in the iPad mode for me, it all automatically defaults to this type of spread look, or the way that it looks here, which is slightly different than what you might see in your full-on laptop computer or your desktop computer. Once I log into Park, it's going to take me into my Canvas course rooms, and just ignore the fact that I have a lot of courses. That's just notwithstanding. I'm going to pick the course here, 251. Once you're in 251, you can go to, in this case, we'll go to Modules. Once I've selected Modules, I'll pick the lower module that just goes straight to either MindTap course or Cengage Technical. I'm going to go to MindTap because that's the course that I'm talking about at this point with this course. Clicking on the MindTap itself takes me right into the MindTap course without having to go through any of the modules, the other modules that are there, like Unit 1 that would have taken you to the first exercise, or taking you to the first discussion point, or taking you to the first reading, or taking you to the first visual, things that I've already covered in previous videos. Once I'm here, I can click onto the Load the MindTap course, and it takes me right into the Cengage browser. Now, if I knew what, or could memorize what the Cengage address was here, I could certainly probably type that in. But this is a simpler, quicker, easier way to access MindTap using my mobile device. Now, of course, I'm going to go here and click on to, we're in week 3 at this point, click onto this symbol here so that it'll reflect the information in the course room. Now, for most folks, you shouldn't see this information, but because I'm in the instructor module in the instructor mode, I can see all this other information. For you, you'll want to be able to access the learning objectives, certainly the visual summary, which is the same thing that I covered in a previous video. But for those who may not have been able to watch that video for some reason, if you click onto the visual summary, it's going to take you into what looks like really a spreadsheet, or a organizational chart of the particular chapter. In each of these blocks, you could further drill down and get into some of the other information that's in this particular chapter simply by clicking on the appropriate box that's there. It'll blow it up and then further define it. And if you scroll down, you can get to other information and pick up additional data. One of the things I really like about this visual summary is it gives you a nice, brief, and succinct overview of the chapter work itself. So if there's particular terms or particular phrases or particular information that's of interest to you, rather than having to walk through each aspect of the chapter, you can very quickly go to that aspect that interests you most and take a quick look at it. Now, there's also some links within the chapter that will hyperlink you to other areas within the text and provide you with additional information. But that's the salient point of the visual summary. The reading is really just telling you, or giving you an opportunity to read through this chapter without the distractions of any of the other information that might be there. One of the things I'm going to be doing in future MindTap uses not necessarily for this course, is that there are some particular aspects of the reading I found unique, very useful, very helpful, and so I can go about highlighting those, bookmarking those positions, and highlighting them, as well as if there's something that really just jumps out to me, I can go through the process of highlighting that particular section as well and bring that to your attention. Mind you, the purpose, at least for this course, the purpose of using the MindTap is to enhance, not replace, the reading. The real goal here is to allow you, the student, to get engaged with the text, and in so doing, you'll be further engaged with the course. Now, there's a couple of other aspects here within MindTap that are kind of unique in that they usually don't show up other places or in other types of venue, but for our purposes, we're able to do things like take a look at this video. This anatomy of a riot gives you an opportunity to reflect on and further get information or further build your information knowledge base on the anatomy of a riot as it might pertain to whatever aspect of the course is being discussed. So that's one of the many things that I think are very, very useful when using MindTap. And of course, it'll take you through all of the other information. Now, this is the chapter 1 reading, and this is based off of the readings itself. If you go into chapter 2, you'll find other readings and be able to follow that along. One last thing with regard to MindTap. Once you've accessed it, particularly when you're accessing it in the using the mobile application, when using the mobile application, you can actually get to all the other stuff that's typically available to you in the laptop or the desktop version, to include the search bar, the full entire text, which you can then search by for words. You can also search for words, terms, and phrases using the search bar, and it'll link it into the text, identify where that word, term, or phrase appears, and then draw you to it within the text itself. You have the glossary of terms. Of course, it shows your student progress as you continue through there. But then you have this other aspect here, which is dealing with flashcards. Now, for our purposes, we don't really need to jump into the flashcard arena, because the information is just really kind of blatantly there for you. One of the reasons why I include the flashcards, though, is because in your tests, in the exams that are coming up, many of those terms or terminology are going to be reflected here in the test. The test itself is going to be easy to take, but when you see a term, it would be best for you to have practiced that term, practice learning what that term is, or what that term was referring to, how to best explain it or define it. And it's just a quick, easy, low-level way to practice getting terms, definitions, phrases into your brain pan, into your mindset, so that you're ready to take on the upcoming exams. Now, we have in this course, CJ 251, we have 2 exams, and each exam is dynamic in and of itself, in that everyone who takes the exam will get a different series of questions, answers, responses. They'll get the same number of questions, but they will just come from a different identified question bank or pool of questions that I've gone through and individually vetted. So that's one of the other very valuable pieces of using MindTap as a study source or as a study resource, allowing you to better prepare, or maybe even best prepare, for upcoming exams and other information. All right, well, that's the long and short of it. That's how you can get into MindTap. That's one of the uses that I advocate for MindTap, or of MindTap, and I'm hoping that will help you out, at least in accessing this information from something other than perhaps a work computer where you have limited security protocols, or you have security protocols that limit your availability and access to outside internet third-party applications. Well, I hope that's not too cumbersome or too cumbersome for you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. You have my email at ematthews@park.edu, and you can always call and leave a voice message on my phone at area code 816-584-6509. Hey, thanks a lot. Have a great day, and I'll see you online.